The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
Welcome to the Struggling Artist Record Club's January selection, which is Boston's Unseemlier. Since we started the show last time with our favorite albums of 2025, I figured let's do our favorite shows of 2025. So Ryan, what were your favorite shows of 2025?
2025 was pretty packed with shows for me. I started off the year with the Swingin' Utters in January. This is the third time I've seen them.
Love the Swingin' Utters.
Yeah, it was great.
Absolutely love them.
Yeah. I had their 7-inch, was it Gives You Strength, I think it's called? Had it signed while I was there. So it was
awesome. Great.
Yeah. In February, I got to see Big D and the Kids Table with the Kilograms and Omnigon. I'm because I went to so many, I'm just gonna throw out a few, and I'm gonna throw this one out because it doesn't quite fit with the show, but it's fun, so I'm gonna let you know about it. I saw a band that definitely has a punk and DIY ethos, but definitely not the sound. The band is Cheek Face. It's catchy, poppy, fun music, and they're a great crowd at their shows. They get the whole crowd involved. And fun fact, I go to a pub trivia every week, and I found my current team because the host asked for song recommendations, and they put in a Cheek Face song. And
I just noted Cheek Face so that I can listen to them after this.
Yeah. If you like They Might Be Giants and that kind of fun stuff, yeah. Popular 2 is the song I'd recommend to get into them first. And then in April, I saw Cheek Face for the second time. And then a few days after Trev talked with Little Matt from Yes Ma'am, I actually got to see him. So that was pretty cool.
So good.
Yeah. In May, I saw the Drowns for the third time, and it was also the first time I saw the Addicts, which, if you've ever seen one of their shows, they go pretty crazy, very theatrical and engaging. It's pretty fun. And you remember the show I went to in June where I got to see Urethane.
Right, yeah. Appreciate you sending me that signed record.
Yeah. I'll skip down a little bit because I went to so many. July, I saw the Taxpayers with Walter Mitty and his makeshift orchestra. I mentioned that because I saw them again later, Walter Mitty as makeshift orchestra. I can see why they shorten it to Walter Etc. for the band name. I saw them later with Apes of the State, and I'm going to see them next weekend again too. So, I think my favorite trip or favorite show that I saw was when I did a road trip to Vegas. I got to see the Templars, Ultrasect, Castillo, and 45 Adapters. Amazing. And since I was A year before, I went to essentially the same show, but without 45 adapters. The other three bands were there. Since I was in Vegas, I went to see Penn and Teller, and of course, stopped at the Punk Rock Museum.
Yeah, you got to stop there.
Yeah. In October, I went up to LA with a friend to watch Devo and the B-52s.
Whoa,
I remember that day. Yeah, it was a great show. Sucked getting there because our wannabe dictator wanted to fire live missiles over the 5 freeway, which is the road we would have been on, but they shut it down. So a 2-hour drive turned into like a 4 to 5 hour drive.
sucks.
Yeah. Saw some more folk punk in November with Rent Strike, Sister Wife Sex Strike, and Miles Bullen. If Miles Bullen sounds familiar, Arya just shouted him out in his latest Underground Noise episode. He's definitely an artist to go see live. I had never heard about him until I saw him. And again, he knows how to work a crowd and get them involved. And his musical styles vary from song to song, but it all flows really well. Yeah, great show. If he's in your area, check him out.
Who's that again? So I can write down.
Miles Bullen, and
How
it's
do you spell?
Miles Myles.
And how do you spell his last name?
Bullen, Bullen. I also got to see Off With Their Heads, which the San Diego crowd, Ryan Young pointed out too, the San Diego crowd just wasn't really into it. So he offered to play Clear the Air and just finish the show early if everybody wanted that, because that's what everybody was really waiting for.
That's
Fortunately, he didn't. But yeah, the crowd did suck. And I guess I'm part of that crowd, so I suck too. But I don't get involved much anymore. So, and then the last show, I don't recall if I mentioned it on the podcast or not, but I did see the Bouncing Souls East Coast Fuck You tour. My favorite band from that show was H2O.
Yeah, so much energy.
Oh, before the show even started, the pit started going as they walked out on stage. And Toby even said, "You guys, the pit's going already. This is going to be a great show." So yeah, it was good. Good year.
Yeah, that's an amazing year. Wow. Probably one of your best years, I'd have to assume.
Yeah, I missed one in here. I saw Mercy Music at one of the shows, and I'm seeing them again next week too.
Wow.
So yeah, I've got 2 shows next weekend.
Damn. That's awesome.
And then Violent Femmes at the end of the month.
Wow. Yeah, I saw them like 7 years ago at a casino. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So for my shows, I saw Chuck Reagan of Hot Water Music do his solo acoustic set in a winery in Philadelphia, which is one of the weirdest venues I've ever been to. I mean, the seats don't even face the venue. So you have to like adjust your seats. And then there's like a minimum, I don't remember, but you had to order like $60 worth of food and drinks from a waitress. So really just bizarre just seeing him in a winery, fancy winery. But it was great, obviously. He sounded amazing. And his solo stuff is just stuff I absolutely love. Then I saw the Rum Jacks in a venue in Philly that was so hot. No matter how much beer I chugged, I couldn't get drunk because I just sweated it out. Middle of the summer, and like I don't even think there was air conditioning. It was just brutally hot. The band was on stage with no shirts on. But it's the Rum Jacks, so there's no way I'm going to miss that. And then I saw the Dreadnoughts in a brewery. They ended up being one of my favorite live bands, probably of all time. Just so much crowd participation. They have the crowd just doing everything, moving around. It's just insane. So much fun. Then I finished it off with Hot Water Music with Bane. So those are my 4 favorite shows of 2025. So now, Ryan, you want to read the January readout for this Unseemlier?
Yeah, since Trev handed this podcast off to us, I'll read what he gave to everybody in the readout. Friends, I hope in this dumpster fire we call the world, things are looking at the very least okay for you. 1 year into the worst presidential term I've experienced, and I feel lots of emotions. Same. Mostly anger, but lots of emotions. Maybe it was chance, or maybe it was kismet that the original chosen record for December was delayed till this month. Regardless of whether it was fate or coincidence, I have a screw loose somewhere from an Unseemlier seems to fit perfectly when it comes to lots of emotions all over the place. If emo and hardcore had a baby, it would be this band. I love this album. Hard on your sleeve lyrics with an 80s angry hardcore type delivery with frontman Mike Asatley's vocal delivery. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Then all of a sudden you get this real Beauty and Beast type vibe when bassist Andrea, I'm going to butcher this name if I say it, Neuwenveld's breathtaking voice, backing vocals. Enjoy the music and enjoy the movie bit samples spread around on this one. We need more film quotes on records. And then included in this month, you will also receive a cassette tape of Unseemlier's first EP, The Truth Is We Out Here. Connections. Frontman and great human being. Mike Satley has a second connection to the club. He is also the drummer of Little Low. Kevin Bacon don't got shit on me for degrees of separation. And finally, if you notice the labels are darker, that is because Ryan and Dave of the recap show bullied me into buying a new printer. Happy New Year, Trev. I don't know about you, Dave, but I'm a little bit offended that he thought we were bullying him, because we definitely were.
Yeah, I mean, they were just too light. I just didn't think they were going to make it, and didn't want to have any issues by saying, where's my record? And so I've been noticing
Yeah,
this for at least like 6 months to a year, really. I feel like every month they
yeah,
get lighter and lighter, and I just had to be like, yeah, this is too light.
yeah. I've had enough problems with shipping from the UPS or USPS. In fact, today when I got home, there was a package at my door. It wasn't for my apartment at all. It's for a completely different building.
Right. So
So
you want these labels to be crystal clear, so the postman's not guessing like, I think this is for you. So
yeah,
anyway, sorry, Trev, but they have to be done.
yeah, it did.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read my review. Unseemlier's album, I Have a Screw Loose Somewhere, is a great example of why I love the Struggling Artists Record Club. Let me explain. See, this is the type of music that people will usually listen to once and then not revisit. I say this because of the style of music. It doesn't hit you hard at first. You don't listen to it and think, wow, this is amazing. Instead, you probably just move on with your day. This is because the music asks listeners to be active participants instead of being passive. I like this style of music because it forces you to spend a lot of time with the record. You don't just listen to it a few times and think, okay, I know exactly how this record goes. Instead, you're constantly listening to it and uncovering new parts. See, there are no big epic choruses or gang vocals or super melodic parts. This music is raw and rough upon first listening. It reminds me of a mix between Modern Life is War and Leatherface. I say that because is Modern Life is War and Leatherface do not hit you hard in the face, but instead you find subtle below the belt grooves and vibes that you have to seek out. The advantage of this style is that you need to listen to the album over and over, picking up tiny pieces here and there that stand out. That means the record actually feels like 4 or 5 records because of all the cool sounds you discover and all the time you spend with it. Every time I listen to it, I find something new and cool I haven't noticed before, like a guitar or bass line, the phrasing of a word or lyric, or Andrea's amazing backup vocals. I think it sounds like Modern Life is War because of how the vocalist sings the lyrics. It's very 80s hardcore like. Then I think of Leatherface because of the guitars and how the choruses are not super big, but more discreet and mellow, but still very awesome. This album keeps on giving. Many albums you can learn fully after a few listens, but with Unseemlier, you can listen to it around 20 times and still find new, exciting details. Most people don't revisit albums like this because we live in a generation that wants instant gratification. They don't have the patience to spend time with albums, learn the lyrics, or uncover all the cool stuff that is related to the band, like how Mike plays and drums for the band Little Low. They want something big, epic, funny, and hip right away. And when it's not that, they don't give it the attention it deserves. Which means Unseemlier will unfortunately never become a popular band. Americans are simply too narrow-minded and hyper to get cozy with music like this. They want instant gratification, like I just said. But the advantage to this style of music is it will not become popular or mainstream. For us punk purists, that's a good thing. See, we don't want our favorite artists to become the next Green Day, who has to do whatever the higher ups and their handlers tell them for fame and money. They then sing about corruption and hard times, even though they are worth a combined $200 million. This music that Unseemlier makes allows bands to operate on their own terms and not sell their souls or act like times are tough when really they're just crazy rich. Lyrics are especially important with this style. Without them, songs can sound similar and hard to connect with. That's why I started my review by saying this album is a great example of why I love the Struggling Artist Record Club, because I wouldn't have bought this otherwise. Now, I did listen to it a few times when Trev talked about it in the fall. He talked about how much he loved the album, so I did listen to it a few times back then. But when I listened to it back then, it didn't connect with me because there were no lyrics available. And as an adult, free time is rare. They really need to add lyrics to Bandcamp. If the Bandcamp page had lyrics, I know I would have loved the album the same way I ended up loving it now when it was part of the record club. But because we work 5 days a week, time is limited. So I remember listening to it back then, and with no lyrics, I told myself, I don't really have time to enjoy this album if there's no lyrics. Lyrics kind of offer a shortcut in a way, I guess. Luckily, the vinyl did have lyrics, but they really make me angry every time I read them because they're just one long paragraph printed in black ink on a black background with some white spots, which means they're extremely hard to follow. For aggressive music that lacks big choruses or wild melodies, lyrics are as important as the music. Not having them on Bandcamp and having them printed so poorly on the vinyl is a big disservice to the band. Creating an album takes a lot of work, and this layout doesn't help the band succeed, especially since the lyrics matter so much. On the bright side, the artwork and purple-colored vinyl are perfect. Ryan, what color did you receive?
I got what I would call kind of a blood red with a little bit of dark swirly patterns in it. I
Cool.
like it.
Yeah. I like my purple one a lot. I think that.
So yours was more purple than red?
Yeah, definitely
Okay.
purple. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed on their Bandcamp page they said whoever was pressing it was doing random colors. So
Okay.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I absolutely love the cover and the album title. I have a Screw Loose somewhere. It's one of the best covers and album titles I've seen in a while. If only the lyrics weren't one long paragraph. I even thought about typing out the lyrics in Microsoft Word because every time I try to follow them along, I lose my place, especially when my cat jumps on my lap, causing me to get distracted. And since it's one long paragraph, it's a struggle to find where I was, but I never really had the time to type them out. The band name Unseemlier is unique. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, because it can be tough to pronounce. But overall, I think it's a cool name since it means not in accord with accepted standards of decency or morality, which fits well with the lyrics. Although Unseemlier could be tagged as emo, the lyrics deal with some serious topics, such as losing a friend to heroin overdose in high school. I prefer lyrics like that over political ones since my politics are clear. Never trust the government, never trust the mainstream media. Always do your own research and draw your own conclusions. Punk should be about independent thinking. I really like the lyrics by Mike because they talk about the daily struggle of being human. That fits well with the band's name, which means, again, not in accord with accepted standards, because modern life is out of sync with what's a healthy way of living. How is working 5 days a week okay? How is spending 90% of your time doing stuff you dislike and accepted standard? How is being taxed heavily while the government wastes our money accepted? I was encouraging people to go to college and graduate with huge debt normal. I could go on and on. So even though the name is a bit tough to pronounce and not catchy like other band names, it still carries some serious substance. The album opens and closes with great lyrics. It starts with, I want to wake up and feel the change, the fresh start to a brand new day. And then a wave hits me like a plague that I exist in this random hellscape. I keep pushing, I keep moving. I like these lyrics a lot because they're giving you an introduction of what's inside Mike's head, which basically says, hey, I wake up optimistic, but quickly that fades away from all the bullshit you have to deal with in life. But instead of just giving up and turning to alcohol or drugs, he says, I will just continue making music and promoting music. Life, you can beat the shit out of me, but I'm going to beat the shit right back at you, which I think is the best way to live. Then the album ends with, it's okay that you're not okay. And if you feel like that won't ever change, it's not your fault. Your brain's wired that way. Until the end, you'll never know. Yeah, till the end, you'll never know. And if I could change that, I would. And I'm sorry. I have a screw loose somewhere. In my review of 40 Reps, I said female vocals weren't used enough. Here, I think they're used perfectly. Andrea has killer, amazing vocals, and it's just the right amount throughout the album. Her presence really benefits this album. The digital version has some movie sound bites, but the vinyl publisher did not feel comfortable including them due to copyright laws. Even though the chances of those movie clips actually reaching the people in power and for them to act on it is extremely slim, they still felt that they weren't comfortable adding the clips. So it's just available on the digital. And Mike actually keeps a list of potential movie clips for songs. He has over 100 written on a little notebook, and he would like to include more of them, but the band made him choose just a few for this album. Lastly, Mike, the lead singer, is a true punk lifer. This guy lives and breathes music and punk attitude. He's vegan like me and lives life with punk values, such as how to treat people respectfully and how he wears his clothes until they fall apart. He's been booking shows for half his life from Oakland warehouses to New York and hands out flyers, which feels like a lost art. He'll be punk to the end, which makes Unseemlier even cooler knowing the singer is legit and not some fake who will disappear next year. Mike has been playing in bands for decades. He likes a wide variety of bands and books a wide variety of bands. Lots of times in the punk scene, you're looked down upon by enjoying a wide variety of genres, but Mike doesn't care at all. He will listen to techno, then some DB. He also plays drums in Little Low, who were part of the record club in the summer. Oh, and it's cool that Trev also sent out the first EP on mint and white colored cassette. Now, Ryan, do you own a tape player?
Yes and no. I have one, but it's not with me right now. It's at my parents' house where I'll be moving towards the end of the year. Um, and I remember it because I spent a lot of money on it when I was a teenager because I wanted a very nice portable one. So I hope it still works.
Yeah, it should. It should.
Otherwise, I will be buying one just because I want to have one.
Yeah, I mean, with vinyl being so expensive these days and such long lead times, bands are turning that to cassettes. So
Yeah.
I've been pretty much buying about one cassette a month for the past year or so. So I'm starting to build up my collection.
Yeah,
Starting to adjust to it.
I think I have about 10 or 12 in the drawer of my record cabinet.
Nice, cool.
So I do have a couple older ones too, like Pearl Jam from the 90s when I bought it way back then, but yeah, I also have some newer ones.
Yeah, I think my oldest
So,
one is Descendants Milo Goes to College, and then I got the new Milo Goes to College. Like Tapehead City did that, so I got both of them side by side in my office, which is pretty cool since it's one of the greatest albums of all time. So lastly, go listen to Mike. He's on Trev's podcast. And then Mike's also on DC XPC's podcast, Scene Support. So in the end, I absolutely love this record, and this is why everyone should be joining the record club to receive awesome music like this.
okay. So, like you, I definitely agree about this being a perfect record for the club. And like you, I also listened to it a couple times early on. Didn't get anything from it. But over the last week at work, I listened to it, I want to say probably 4 or 5 times. Couldn't focus entirely because I was at work, but still, I wanted to at least have it going through my ears so I could try to get some of it absorbed. And then yesterday, I listened to it 7 times, maybe 8. And today at work, again, I want to say I listened to it another 6 or 7 times. And um, now I look at it a little bit differently. Um, to me, the songs could almost sound a little repetitive to someone the first couple times they listen to it. But now, after listening to it so many times, it doesn't feel repetitive necessarily. It feels more like it's, I don't want to I don't want to say it's just one long song, but it's one album that flows from song to song. And I think it was about 24, 25 minutes. So it's perfect to just listen from first track all the way through the last track in one session, just doing something around the house, driving somewhere, whatever. And you can get a good listen into it. Um, yeah, I yesterday when I was going over this, um, I I wasn't really feeling like getting into a review and doing it because, like you mentioned, we spend all of our time working these days, and we've been doing a lot of stuff at work um, and learning a bunch of new stuff. So my brain is fried at the end of the day, and I just don't want to do anything when I get home.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so yesterday, while I was listening to it so many times and trying to type up my review and go through it, I heard the lyrics from "Take a Load Off Family." And it starts off, "When you're running on empty, but still choose to push harder, I find it hard to think of a time when I just couldn't bother." And although those lyrics are from a song about addiction in your family, I found a second meaning at the exact time I needed it to help me keep going with pushing through it and not giving up on it and continuing to get some information in my computer so I could do a review. Um, and I've listened to it over a dozen times now, probably close to 2 dozen times, although only the vinyl one time, um, just because once it's on my phone, I can listen to it at work half a dozen times like I did today.
And and with the digital, you get the movie clips. So that's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I don't recall them on the vinyl, so
No, they're not
it
listed. They're not on the
okay,
vinyl there.
okay. Um, yeah, so for me, this record definitely grew on me, and I think this album needs to be listened to from start to finish in full, no skipping, no shuffle mode when listening to the digital copy. If you're listening on vinyl, that's pretty much the way you're going to do it. Um, yeah, and it's easy to listen to the entire album while you're doing almost any task, or better yet, make sure once in a while you take some time for yourself because, as they say, it's okay if you're not okay. And if you feel like that won't ever change, it's not your fault. Your brain's wired that way. And those lyrics also remind me of this album behind me, Radar Waves Dirt. I feel like the last track on that album had a similar message about it's okay if you're not okay. I don't
Yeah.
remember the lyrics from it, but it was something similar. Um, and I You mentioned the lyric sheet, and I'm also going to mention it. I have a similar take, but also slightly different. Um, the lyric sheet is definitely needed in a record, or it's appreciated. But this one was very difficult to read, like you mentioned. I ended up putting it in my scanner, messing with the image to try to get something I could actually read, which I I sent you a copy.
Yeah.
I, yeah, it was okay, but it'd still be difficult. Um, and this is where I feel like they took an artistic approach at a lyric sheet by printing them on top of a picture of the singer. But I personally don't really like the result as a listener that wants to follow along with the lyrics. I don't want to dive into hypotheticals like maybe they wanted to intentionally obscure the lyrics a bit to make it dark and or something like that. So and and yeah, if any bands that are listening and want information about how to make us happy with lyric sheets, you know, do it song by song, not a big block, and print them so people can read them easily.
Yep. Pretty
Yeah,
simple.
yeah. And if you release it on Bandcamp, you can add lyrics there if you want, and it's appreciated if you do. I believe when you do put them on Bandcamp, if you download a digital copy, you get them embedded on that, which is nice because the media player I use on my computer will show the lyrics.
Nice.
So it is nice if they include them there too.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, I also wanted to talk about the album cover, which I really liked it. I like the grainy look of the photograph. The image looked like a kitchen setting from the 60s or 70s with a man sipping from a coffee cup while wearing a bib to protect his suit. And the graininess in the photo in the area around the eyes and the overall appearance of the picture did give it an awkward, unusual, or out of place sensibility. Perhaps one might describe it as unseemly or unseemlier to wrap it up. So, and like we mentioned earlier, I liked my color that I got. I don't know if I got lucky with my copy or how random they were. So yeah, definitely. This is an album. Again, like you mentioned, I probably wouldn't have picked it up, but since it was part of the club and I put some time into it eventually, now I really like this one.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. I feel the
yeah,
same way.
yeah, I've dealt with anxiety and depression over the years, and so this one, it would be nice to have the lyrics in a better format, but the ones I did read definitely struck a chord with me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I definitely recommend this record.
Yep. Excellent record.
So I guess we're done with the record.